Hey, what's up? My name is Jonathan Fink, and this is my audiobook series. Today we'll be reading The Republic Baseball League, Volume 1, Chapter 19, The Golden Age. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like. If you really enjoy, please subscribe. Thanks so much. Chapter 19, The Golden Age. Back in his office, after his dissertation presentation, Professor Dempsey felt completely exhausted. Despite hours of intensive preparation and a high level of confidence, he still found the experience both stressful and demanding. He decided a few minutes of meditation would be helpful, and he was right. Feeling more relaxed afterwards, he called Sarah to give her the news that the presentation went well, and all that was standing between him and his PhD was the acceptance of his thesis and dissertation, and of course, the stamp of approval from the review board. After chatting on the telephone with Sarah, Dempsey spent some time preparing for his last lecture of the semester. He was just about finished when he was interrupted by a knock on his office door. He said, "Enter," and in walked Rachel, Corey, and RJ. Rachel said, "We know you're not a PhD just yet, but in anticipation of you earning that advanced degree, our class decided to chip in and buy you a congratulations gift. They designated the three of us to deliver it to you." RJ said, "Taking your class this semester was truly amazing. It changed our lives. Everyone in the class feels the same way. We are forever grateful to you." Then Corey handed Dempsey a package neatly wrapped in red, white, and blue gift wrap paper and said, "Thank you for everything." Dempsey carefully removed the gift wrap paper from the package. It was a shoebox. He opened it an inch, peeked inside, and what he saw in it put a big smile on his face. The shoebox was filled with unopened packs of baseball cards from the 1970s. Since the cards were still in their original packaging, Dempsey knew that they were in mint condition and no doubt worth a pretty penny. Humbled by the considerate gift, Dempsey said, "You guys shouldn't have done this. It was totally unnecessary. This is so thoughtful of you, and I truly appreciate it. You guys are amazing, and I'll remember this forever." Dempsey placed the shoebox on his desk and said, "Come with me. It's time for you to hear my last lecture of the semester. I think you will appreciate the subject matter." Then he changed his mind and took the shoebox with him to the lecture hall. Rachel, Corey, and RJ walked with Dempsey down the hallway. When they entered the lecture hall, Dempsey saw his students already in their seats. Appropriate for the occasion, they were all wearing baseball jerseys of their favorite Republic League teams. Rachel, Corey, and RJ walked to the top row, found seats, and sat down. Dempsey walked over to the podium, carrying the shoebox, and said, "I guess you all know what I'm holding and what's inside. This was so thoughtful of all of you, and I can't thank you enough. Your gift is right on the mark for a fanatic baseball fan like me, but I guess you already knew that too. Thanks again from the bottom of my heart." Dempsey was overcome with emotion, and his students could see his eyes actually tearing up a little. Feeling the good vibes, Dempsey opened his laptop and said, "Now let's get down to the business at hand." He located his class presentation folder and clicked on the file entitled The Golden Age. Dempsey channeled his inner Socrates and began his lecture telling his students that Webster's dictionary defines the term Golden Age as a period of great happiness, prosperity, and achievement. Similarly, Oxford Languages defines the term as a pastime of peace, prosperity, and happiness, and adds that it could define a period where when a specific art, skill, or activity is at its peak. According to Wikipedia, the term comes from Greek mythology and denotes a time of peace, harmony, stability, and prosperity when great tasks are accomplished. Then, Dempsey referenced Mark Twain to illustrate that golden ages come and go, and come back again, although not exactly in the same form in a different time. Twain once said that history does not repeat itself, but it rhymes. Dempsey believed Twain was right, even if he failed to mention in any of his writings that time may not be linear, but rather a spiral or circular in nature. Dempsey compared the concept to a wedding ring, where there is no beginning and no end. Dempsey then used another analogy to make his point. He noted that the world has been in peril many, many times throughout history. Humanity has faced wars, pandemics, economic disparity, racial injustice, tyrannical governments, and even genocide. Yet, these tragic events, be they moments in time or situations that last for much longer periods of time, are often birthing pains of the next golden age. Dempsey's research on the topic revealed that historians have used the phrase golden age to describe events and accomplishments that span different cultures and time frames. These include ancient Greece of Plato and Aristotle, the Italian Renaissance of Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, the scientific revolution of Copernicus and Isaac Newton, the Age of Enlightenment of John Locke and Adam Smith, and the Industrial Revolution in the United States of America with Henry Ford and Andrew Carnegie. Although clearly not in the same realm as war, pandemics, or tyrannical governments, or nearly as important as the cultural, scientific, or industrial advancements of the golden ages he had just outlined, Dempsey chose to devote the last segment of his last lecture of the semester to describe the golden age of baseball. According to the professor, many baseball historians believe that the first golden age of baseball began in the 1920s, after the dead ball era before World War I, and lasted until the 1940s and World War II. This period was dominated by the New York Yankees, especially the great Lou Gehrig and the incomparable home run hitting Babe Ruth. Other baseball historians believe that this golden age of baseball extended further after World War II through the 1960s. This period was noted for the expansion of baseball to the West Coast, the Dodgers to Los Angeles, and the Giants to San Francisco, the invention of color television, and the outstanding careers and charisma of modern-era baseball legends like Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Sandy Koufax, and Bob Gibson. Dempsey continued, "Our class project gave us all a glimpse into the possible future of professional baseball and into the next golden age. Together, we reimagined what baseball in this great country of ours could be if Major League Baseball monopolistic antitrust exemption was revoked. We would see a bright future indeed, with every person and every business connected in some way to baseball benefiting. Ball players would benefit, especially the ranks of those that toil currently in the minor leagues. Owners would benefit as the value of their franchises would continue to increase in value. Perhaps most important, the fans would benefit by having greater access to quality baseball at a reasonable price closer to home." To complete his lecture and the last class, Dempsey said, "Thank you all for taking my class this semester. I hope you learned a great deal about politics and economics and had some fun doing it. And thank you for your enthusiasm and participation in our class project, which led me to my PhD thesis and dissertation. May the baseball gods always be with you, and long live the Republic Baseball League." End of chapter 19. Up next, the final chapter of volume 1, the PhD, chapter 20. Thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. As always, God bless.
This month, we have some great sports card stories from across the U.S. and talk to an author from nearby Leawood, Kansas, who has written a book about returning to collecting after 3 decades away.
My day job is I'm a financial advisor, so I've been investing for over 20 years. And a way to express my love for the hobby, I decided, what if I write an investment book, Sports Card Collectors Club, and treat the stock market the same way I would treat the card market. And so I thought, well, how would a day trader invest in cards? How would a venture capitalist buy and sell cards? How would a hedge fund do it? As I would go through my trials and tribulations, I realized that for as much fun as I was having investing, there was something missing. And one day I was watching the Royals game on television, and it was a rain delay. And the Card Life television show came on. I was watching that episode, I was watching Matt Strom open cards and rip packs, and I started getting the warm, fuzzy feeling. I said, this is what I want to be doing. I want to get back to really collecting and ripping cards and building sets. And that's when the story of my book has changed. I go from investing back to collecting.
I'll also open a variety of boxes from different sports. So he hit the home run off me in like the 7th inning. And then in the 8th inning, JT hit a double, so he's standing on second. And Mason Wynn asked him, he's like, hey JT, he's like, I heard Strom collects cards of guys that take him deep. He's like, does that mean he's gonna send me over a couple cards to sign tomorrow? And after the game, we had won. I mean, winning is the only thing that's important to me. So it's like, I was good after the game, whatever, and JT comes up to me and he's like, hey Stromy, he was really genuine. Like he wasn't taking shots. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, when I got to second, Mason asked if you're gonna send a card over for him.
I'm just looking around my basement here, just walls covered with concert posters and toys, and just like, I have no intention of selling these things. I collect because I want to show off the things I love and do it in fun ways. And it just never crossed my mind that, hey, I'm going to go buy this thing just so I can resell it. Like that to me isn't a pure collector mentality. And obviously things change and times change. And, in order for things to survive right now, you have to have that sort of chase for something valuable.
Yeah, it needs to be a circus. You know what? The truth is, I actually watched the live stream on eBay Live with Ken Golden and Logan Paul. They ripped a box of 86 Flair and a box of Series 1 Pokemon. And you know what? It was very entertaining. They're both polarizing characters. I thought it was entertaining. But you know what? After every pull, they immediately are showing the value. And and it begs the question, are we creating, not we, is the industry creating a gambling culture which has a real downside?
It already has. Right. Not created. It's here.
Yeah, and
that's
a concern. I guess for me, I hope to be an influence where we focus more on collecting, because you know what, when markets crash, collectors don't get hurt at all. Because the Sandy Koufax you bought that because it makes you feel good. It brings back good memories.
Said this one traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight.
You have created community, so let's talk about that. I went to Rip Night at your shop. Let's rip it on the pack. And I went to your Rip Night 2 years ago, and it was one of the best. I wrote about it in volume 1. It was one of the best times I've ever had. You guys had this giant scoreboard where you had the chase cards, and everyone can buy whatever product you wanted, like buy 3, get 1 free, whatever product, whatever it was. You then, if you pull a Bronny James, you then get another blaster. Or I pulled a Reed Shepherd auto, and then I got a free T-shirt. And I sat around the table with strangers and had the best time ever. So let's talk about how important community is, and what you guys do is provide an anchor for community in our town. How important that is.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, one of our taglines, we say we'll make an offer on anything, but like you said, I mean, we got to pay what it's worth. And so if it's junk wax, it's going to be junk wax prices, which unfortunately, a lot of people end up thinking that their 87 Topps Barry Bonds is going to be a couple $100 or
it's
something.
Worth nothing, people.
Brand and notoriety. And so when you're pitching these stories to these athletes, like I've reached out to a couple of different athletes about writing a potential article about their collections and having them kind of share their story. And it's like, yes, like I write for Collectibles on SI, which is under the Sports Illustrated umbrella. It does carry weight. Like it does, people recognize that brand. It is important. And so I'm super grateful that I've been given the opportunity to write for that staff.
top segment that was done by you on you was so well produced, right? Did all that come from the conversation you had with Michael Rubin? Is that how that put you on the map to such an extent that all those opportunities happened? How did that happen? Did you get a call one day?
Said this one traded for my first big win. Jonathan Fink on the line tonight with a pack in hand and a story that bites.
I didn't even collect when I was 3 years old, like when this card came out, but he just pulled a good one. Roman Anthony, from Dempsey, I love Wichita State.
Yeah.
I would have been thrilled if he went to Tulane, but his parents have roots in Nebraska. So for him, it was coming home. And so Nebraska got a good one. And so I'm not surprised that program's on the rise because they got a great stadium, they have great resources, they got a great fan base with people like you, and their recruiting is fantastic. They're finding the talented kids. So
Yeah,
watch
in
out
fact,
for the Big Ten.
So yeah, Will Bolt, the head coach, he actually played at Nebraska when I was traveling with the Nebraska team in the late '90s. He was down at Texas A&M when I worked at Texas A&M. Rob Childress is the pitching coach, and I was on the hiring committee that hired him away from Nebraska to come down at Texas A&M, and they're thrilled that he's back here in Nebraska. He's a genius. The number of players in pro ball right now that went through Rob Childress, so he'll be under good guidance when he gets up here to Nebraska. They're good people.
One kid found a mantle in the rain. One old friend came back with the same old chain.
Talk to me about the reaction of the players, the other players, when they see this bat putter. Are they flipping out? They freak out when they see it?
And they see it and they're like, they just stop. Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
So the reason why I asked that question is because I had that experience literally yesterday. So when I first got the bat putter, I think I bought it 6 months ago, and it's customized for the Republic Baseball League, which is so cool. And now that I realize, now that I love it so much, and I got to use it yesterday, I'm like, I got to start buying them for different people. Like, anyone's a guest on my show, they're gonna get a bat putter, okay? Yeah. But the point is, I had never used it because I thought it was too sacred to me. I keep it in my office like a sacred shrine. It means so much to me. But then I was like, after watching all these videos and stuff like that, I'm like, you know what? There's this indoor amazing place in Kansas City called Tap-Ins. Okay, they have an outdoor putt, but also indoor. And depending on the weather, the whole thing, it's an amazing atrium, and it's become a successful business. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? That's a perfect. It was a hot day. I'm like, it's a perfect thing to do. So my buddy Paul Greenwood, who I featured in my first book, we went and played around. And when I showed up with this bat putter, people were freaking out. They were literally losing their minds, and that's when I realized. So then, and then, by the way, it was a Sunday, middle of the day, hot as heck. I want to see how it gets made, but you probably do actually.
I want to see if there's quality control testers there.
But attention! If anyone in the tops is watching, Grip and Rip we want to get invited to a tour at a factory. The two of us.
I told them I would work for free.
Right.
I would work absolutely free. I want to see how their stuff's made.
Yeah, I'm curious. But like collation is like I'm sure there's a bunch of engineers that sit around and design.
Got some breaking news for you.
Yeah.
Slab just texted me.
No way. What do you say? The
Looks like this is the first year to hear it. Who is that?
Right.
Let me see here.
Breaking news. Grip and Rip. Breaking news.
Oh, U.S. agent. Okay, so I just got told that the finest mega boxes are going to be really, really, really good.
Oh, interesting.
1.6 numbered cards a box. So you're guaranteed one numbered card with a 60% chance to pull a second numbered card.
Wow,
and
interesting.
Autos are 1 in 3.
Whoa. So do you think that Topps decided to go big because this is their first year with Topps Finest in retail?
I'm going to say yes. Yes.
Right? Because
I do think so.
You usually get so upset with the delayed numbers, they're delaying them. Or maybe, by the way, I don't know if it's a conspiracy that the odds are coming out later. I just feel that maybe they're just not as efficient as they used to be.
You might have watched this game back
I'm sure I did.
Currently,
Derek Coleman. Yeah, he was on my fantasy team for sure.
Pretty crazy to think, in the future you would be able to collect that moment that you watched.
Right. And by the way, check that out. It's worth $198 versus the ones that are worth 35 cents because it makes sense. Because the same way that you value your 1964 Willie Mays card, you're going to value your Drazen Petrovic, and you're not going to want to give it up unless it's for a very, very good price because you love that memory. And what's wild is the same way that you get the warm fuzzy feeling with dopamine hit, whatever, when you look at a card on your shelf, it's the same thing. But when you're online at the bank, you don't have your cards with you, Paulie, but you do have your phone, and you can pull up your Drazen Petrovic and pay respect to him and watch a couple of his awesome plays that give you the warm fuzzies because you can. It's wild. And so